The Minnesota police officer, the Vietnamese one, Tou Thao, I believe is how you pronounce his name, was sentenced to 4.75 years in prison for aiding and abetting manslaughter in the 2020 killing of George Floyd, with Derek Chauvin kneeling on the guy's neck. What this man did was hold back the crowd. Do you think that he went there with any intent to kill? Was he involved with kneeling on the neck, even on the presupposition that that is what killed him and not the 8 ball and the methamphetamine and everything else that Floyd had in his system at the time? Even if it was a killing by a police officer, he was doing his duty by holding the crowd back. He did not believe this was the training that the cops were given, that anything irregular was going on. And yet the judge sentenced him because he didn't show sufficient repentance to a longer sentence than was asked for by Keith Ellison, the utterly corrupt Attorney General of Minnesota. What is happening here is that they are sentencing everybody involved in order that the public go ahead and believe that justice was done. But it's not individual justice is done. This is the justice that is being performed by a communistic system where if you are all associated with a crime in any way, then you are sentenced. If a family member in the communist system under Stalin were to perform an act that the state did not regard as beneficial to it, you would similarly suffer a great punishment. This is what's going on. They're telling you not to defend them yourself. They let go criminal after criminal after criminal who commits a crime. And if you dare defend yourself, like the shopkeepers in Stockton did recently when they beat the man with the stick who seemed to have a knife or some sort of weapon, I think it was a knife, and they beat him after he had already robbed them twice and threatened them, then they are now under a criminal investigation. What this is evil taking over and perverting the system of justice. This man should not be in prison. Imagine swearing to protect the public and doing what you think is your best at the time and not just allowing your superior officer to do what he thinks is right and what is being commanded, and you get sentenced in such a case. This isn't like some Nazi thing where you know what you're doing is wrong and you repeat it over and over and over again because of orders from your superiors. No, you are engaging in crowd control, which is what Tou Thao was doing. I think that you just have to move out of these blue cities and let them destroy themselves. And this is really bad for the United States because you're going to have pockets of sanity and pockets of utterly insanity like Minnesota. Who in the world would want to take the job as a police officer? Who would want to go out there and protect the Black community, which is going to be suffering more than most with the crime going on in that area? That is the unfortunate reality of the situation, is that they are destroying the very people that they are claiming to be protecting. The Black citizens of our nation are feeling the effects of the lack of policing more than any other segment of the population. And this is a miscarriage of justice. And I see this judge as deeply evil. He gave the defendant more than the attorney general was asking for. This is me going and preaching my bona fides and virtue signaling to the leftist crowd that I am a good person, that I recognize the injustice, and I will sentence even more than what is being asked. I don't know. I think that this is another marker that America is falling apart. I mean, you can overlook one of these, two of these, and eventually it's like you have dots on a white piece of paper, and eventually they form a picture of utter chaos and destruction of the system. Peace.